Greetings everyone, I am Shakina the Neurodisruptor and I'm back again with another video on politics and prophecy with Shakina. And in today's video, I want to address this myth that the average Muslim desires to live or lead a peaceful life. This is simply not true, and I'm telling you this as a Muslim woman, a former Muslim woman, who was severely abused, I would say even tortured and vandalized by various members of the Muslim community from different cultural backgrounds, different class tiers, okay, and different ethnicities. What I find very disturbing is the way in which Muslims are trying to convince the world that they are generally peaceful people. You cannot live a peaceful life or be a peaceful person until you have accepted the blood of Jesus Christ inside of you. And his blood is basically a physical manifestation of his soul, okay? Because the Bible tells us that we are extensions of God, okay? We can only lead a godly life if we have God inside of us. And Muslims do not have God inside of them because the very tenets of their religion completely rejects the blood sacrifice. And so it's actually impossible for Muslims to be peaceful people and to lead genuinely peaceful lives because they have not accepted Jesus's blood sacrifice. Now, when I was 15 years old, I was abducted to the Republic of Kenya by my Muslim father, where I was nearly sold off as a child bride to a 33-year-old man. Child marriage is a common practice in Islam. It's actually legislated, and they follow in the steps of their Prophet Muhammad, who married Aisha at the age of 9 years old and betrothed her when she was only 6. When I escaped the marriage, I was hunted down for an honor killing, okay? I managed to get in touch with the Canadian embassy, and I collaborated with the Canadian government to organize my escape back to Canada. When I came back to Canada, I lived with a legal guardian. Her name was Zahra Khan. Her husband's name was Akbar Khan. Her 2 daughters were Farha Khan and Famida Khan, and their sons were Khalid and Waleed Hadi, okay? While I was living with this family, Waleed Hadi, their brother, held me as a sex slave. He took advantage of the fact that my consciousness was impaired due to, first of all, being a child with an underdeveloped brain, and then also being a child who had just gone through severe trauma. And because his mother was abusing me so severely, I couldn't tell anyone what was going on, and I suffered this for years. And because he had manipulated me so badly, even after I left their home, he continued to hold me as a sex slave. And I was going to school at the time, and I used to wear a hijab. I used to attend Sunday classes, and I even went as far as writing a poem. I'll never forget this. In grade 10, going into grade 11, I wrote a poem called My Hijab, where I actually defended my hijab and defended the purpose of the hijab. And this is while I was being held as a sex slave by a Muslim man. Now, when I left that situation, shortly after that, it was a few years later, the Khan family was deported by the Canadian government, and they're now living in the United States of America. They came here to claim political asylum in the USA. And what they did is they actually engaged in a nearly 2 decades long character assassination campaign against me. Why did they do this? Because they didn't want me to tell people the truth about the fact that their brother held me as a sex slave in their home. And one of the things that Farha and Famida Khan did is they would continuously tell people that I was engaging in sexual immorality with their brother inside of their home. And they made it seem as if though I was this defiant, delinquent young lady, okay, who was basically just loose and had no self-respect, okay, and literally put no blame on their brother, even though their brother was nearly a decade older than me, and he took advantage of the significant power imbalance that manifested in so many ways. It manifested in the age difference. It manifested in the fact that he was the son of the legal guardian who had full responsibility over me and who was also abusing me severely, okay, and also took advantage of the fact that I had no family or community supports. Now, what you guys need to understand is that when they engaged in this character assassination campaign, it was within the Muslim community, and most, if not all Muslims, most of them believed them. There was actually only a handful of, and it's not even a handful, I can count on a few fingers how many Muslims defended me. And one of the Muslims that defended me was actually their cousin, because she came to Canada and she saw how they were treating me. And she told people, you need to stop listening to what these people are saying about Halima, because these people are absolutely evil. I saw how badly they abused her when she was living with them. And the fact that they can make a young girl who was traumatized, who was orphaned by her family, seem this terrible should raise a red flag to the community. Most Muslims continue to believe Farha Khan and Famida Khan and the rumors that they were spreading about me and the ways they were slandering my character and assassinating my personhood and completely destroying my reputation. Now, two of the people who believed them are the two women who are in the thumbnails of this YouTube video. Mona Trabelsi, who's a Tunisian Muslim woman, and Hali Farah, who is a Somali Muslim woman. Hali Farah works as the diversity and inclusion specialist in the city of Toronto, and she also works closely with Black Somali youth. Mona Trabelsi has a job in human resources or something like that. I don't know, but the fact is that she works in the Canadian economy. And sure, on average, if you take them on the surface, they seem like peaceful Muslim women who have assimilated into Western civilization, right, and Western culture, okay, and are now acting as a moderate Islamic voice in the face of Islamic tyranny and terrorism and radicalism. But I want to tell you all that these two women are frauds. One of the people who Farha gossiped about me to was Hali Farah, and she basically told Hali Farah that I was engaging in sexual immorality in her home and disrespecting her family and disrespecting the sanctity of her home. And guess what? Hali Farah believed her. And not only did she believe her, she engaged in spreading these false rumors about me. And one of the people she talked to was Mona Trabelsi. And Mona Trabelsi believed Hali Farah to the point where she actually went to my best friend at the time. Her name was Lina Sadik, and she's a Palestinian Lebanese woman. And she told Lina what she heard from Hali. And Lina had to basically correct her and tell her no, she did not live with them and disrespect them or disrespect the sanctity of her home. She was sexually abused by this man. Okay, it was Lina. Anyway, this is what Lina told me she said to her. Okay. Now, these are two women who have assimilated into Canadian culture, who, are prancing around like these peace-loving, moderate Muslims, okay, who both have jobs, are independent, and Hali Farah even gets a lot of media attention. If you Google her name, you'll see that she's been invited to do interviews on podcasts and, you know, all sorts of media platforms about her work with Somali youth. But what I find disgusting about her is that pedophilia is a huge problem in the Somali community. I was a Somali youth who was subjected to pedophilia multiple times, even before Farha's brother, Waleed Hadi, sexually abused me and held me as a sex slave. So I was already entering that situation as a traumatized Somali youth who had been subjected to pedophilia and child abuse and violence. And she didn't believe my story. She believed my abuser's story. And not only did she believe my abuser's story, she reinforced it by helping her spread rumors, false rumors about me that she knew were going to damage my reputation and harm me within the community. Okay? I need to understand what the left wing defines as peace. Because if you think peace is pretending to be a Canadian or an American, or pretending that you've assimilated into Western culture and pretending that, you know, you disavow Islamic radicalism while behind the scenes you continue to promote it and you continue to use other women as scapegoats so that you can avoid having to deal with the nastiness in your heart, if that's what you define as peace, then I don't care about your definition, okay? I'm going to introduce a new definition. And the new definition of somebody who desires to live in peace is somebody who seeks truth. And if these Muslims sought truth, they would not be Muslim. There's no way that they would be Muslim, okay? This religion is plagued with demons. It is evil. It promotes abuse. It promotes pedophilia. It promotes violence and the shedding of the blood of infidels and disbelievers, including Jews and Christians. Okay? And by them continuing to espouse this religion and act like they're going to be vicegerents of this religion, okay, and identify with it, I don't care if they claim to be peaceful. They are supporting the evil indoctrination that is Islam. They are supporting it. They are empowering it, okay? Because while they were out there pretending to be peace-loving Muslims who disavowed Islamic radicalism and terrorism, behind the scenes, they were engaging in radical terroristic practices inspired by their Prophet Muhammad and inspired by their doctrine of Islam to harm me. And the truth of the matter is the real reason why these women engaged in gossiping about me and harming my character and reputation is because they were envious of the fact that I am westernized and they are not. I am truly westernized, okay? I don't pretend to be westernized and then behind the scenes engage in ghetto Islamic practices. I'm actually a westernized woman. I was Canadian, now I'm American, and I am truly, genuinely, to the bone, an American, to the point that I'm willing to sit here and speak the truth about this fuckery that you all call a religion, Islam. Okay? They were envious of the fact that I was westernized. They were envious of the fact that I was leading my own life, that I was not being ruled by my parents, that I wasn't being ruled by my ethnic or religious community, and worst of all, that I wasn't being ruled by my own fear and ignorance. I did the work to educate myself and to transcend my animalistic human nature in order to enter my God, my goddess nature. Okay, and how did I do that? By accepting the blood of Jesus Christ. And it wasn't until I accepted the blood of Jesus Christ that I actually found inner peace and was then able to live as a peaceful person and lead a peaceful life and contribute to promoting peace within the society that I live in. Okay, So my message to all of you who keep claiming that Muslims on average, the average Muslim wants to lead a peaceful life, no, they do not. The average Muslim wants to be accepted and they want to survive. And if it means pretending that they've assimilated into Western culture and pretending that they're peaceful people, if that's what it takes for them to survive in the Western world, then that's what they'll do. So I'm going to correct you. It is not that Muslims want to lead a peaceful life. It's that Muslims want to survive in a world that will no longer allow their darkness and mediocrity to pervade and reign supreme, especially here in the West, where we have at least some civility. Muslims to this day have not presented civility. Okay? So you need to stop gaslighting us. You need to stop lying to us. And worst of all, you need to stop silencing our lived experiences. Do you understand? The left wing needs to stop silencing the lived experience of ex-Muslims, because Islam is a terroristic cult. And whenever ex-Muslims leave the religion and try to speak out about the very real violence and isolation that they experience, we're constantly silenced. And the only reason why the left wing promotes Islam is because Islam is an oppressive religion that promotes the enslavement of your mind, your heart, and your soul in order to empower Islam. And the left wing is trying to enslave our minds, our hearts, and our soul to promote a paradigm that will take away our economic, political, financial, and spiritual freedoms and autonomy. And our freedom of thought, okay? And our freedom of speech. And that's why they support Islam. It's not because Muslims are peaceful and you know, they're victims of Islamophobia because of the, you know, the anomalies that are Islamic terrorists and radicals. No, it's because Islam is inherently an oppressive religion that promotes the oppression of women, that promotes child abuse, right? That promotes dehumanizing men by raising them into barbarians, okay? To fight for Sharia law and to shed blood for Sharia law. And that's exactly what the left does. The left uses violence. They use unlawful methods, unlawful force, violent force to promote their ideology and their paradigm. And that's why the left supports Islam and supports Muslims. It's not because they're victims. It's because they are aligned with their value, you know, their mission to enslave the rest of us. Okay? And that's all for today. Until next time, stay awake and aware.